From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, INEC says Lawan, Akpabio not candidates for 2023. Casualties of terrorist attacks in Katsina call for end to attacks. Senate probes 1.7 trillion naira allocation to 797 agencies. And on the foreign scene, election day in Kenya as citizens vote to elect new president. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it has not backdated documents to recognize Senate President Ahmed Lawan and former Akwa Ibom State Governor Godswill Akpabio as senatorial candidates. National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee of INEC, Festus Okoye, said on Tuesday in Abuja that the forms of the two were not published by the Commission. Okoye explained that the decision of the Commission triggered legal action, which is still ongoing, and it will be illogical to submit doctored documents recognizing the duo as candidates when the matter was clearly sub judice. There have been controversies after Bashir Machina won the APC's ticket for Yobe North Senatorial District, while Udom Ekpodum won the party's primary election for Akwa Ibom Northwest, which was monitored by INEC officials. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Kano State is assuring its supporters that the party would resolve the crisis within the party before the 2023 general elections. Idris Jibrin reports that the leadership of the party has been factionalized, with each faction claiming authenticity. His report.
According to the Muhammad Abacha-led faction of the party, the crisis within the PDP in Kano is being masterminded by the national leadership of the PDP, which they argued is working for the ruling APC, whereas the Wali-led faction of the party is accusing former Senator Konkoso of controlling the party.
The national headquarters is not comfortable with Sagagi-led faction because they are well formed by the Konkoso. And there is no way. If you take the number of the leadership, the ward level, we have 17 people as a ESCO. In the local government, we have 18 people as a leaders. If you add the number, 17 people times 484, and the 18 people times 44, and the plus 39 people in the state, it will give you the number of more than 9,000 people. There is no way. And any sense somebody will not understand or agree that all of them, they boycott Congress and they didn't follow the Congress.
They are listening to people to whom they are used to failures, electoral failures. To them it's a normal thing. So they have to be concoction that show whether Sagagi is working for Konkoso, because that's the only thing that remains for them to be relevant in the party.
For the Wali-led faction, the primaries which produced Muhammad Abacha was not sanctioned by the party's national leadership, neither conducted in accordance with the law.
If Sagagi wanted to conduct primary in Kano State, first of all, he has to print his form for the gubernatorial candidate. And he has to screen them. Then he can do a primary to them. But they purchase their form at the national headquarters. And when the national headquarters picks the date for screening of the candidate, they went to Abuja national headquarters. And the panel screens them and gives them clearance certificate that they are screened to participate in a primary election in Kano State. The one who sells the form for you and screen you has the power to do you primary and submit your name to INEC. So Shehu Sagagi, he didn't sell the form for them. He didn't screen them. Where did he get the authority, or where did he get the power to do a primary to them?
Meanwhile, the Abacha-led faction argued that the primaries was conducted in accordance with the INEC guidelines and was witnessed by the INEC officials, hence recognized Muhammad Abacha as the legitimate gubernatorial candidate of the party in Kano.
What happened is not INEC doing. It is the work of our party national headquarters, especially the Department of Organization. They are the one who uploaded those names. I even suspect some of those at the helms of affairs of the party at the national level. I suspect they are working for APC. That's what they are trying to make sure that PDP didn't win, especially here in Kano.
Although both factions will head to court to resolve their differences, but for now, the PDP has two gubernatorial candidates in Kano State. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And still on the 2023 elections, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, has assured Nigerians that the 2023 elections will hold. Speaking during the media parley on Tuesday at the Defense Headquarters in Abuja, General Irabo said the military will do everything possible to ensure that nothing stops the poll from holding. The Defense Chief also reiterated the commitment of the military to protecting the democratic ideals in Africa's most populous nation, adding that the military's covenant to protect Nigeria's democracy has not changed. The parley is to solicit the support of the media towards tackling the security challenges in the country. Meanwhile, General Irabo said the terrorists behind the attack on the St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State, have been arrested. He said the criminals were arrested in collaboration with other security agencies. About 40 people were killed when the gunmen stormed the church on June 5th, opened fire on the congregation, and also detonated explosives. The national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Abdullahi Adam, has raised concerns over the prolonged strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. ASU has been on strike since February 14th, and the APC national chairman called on all stakeholders, including parents, to prevail on the union to end the strike. Musa Luka reports.
The recent comment by Minister of State for Labor and Empowerment and Bola Tinubu's presidential campaign spokesperson, Festus Keyamo, on the strike raised dust. APC National Chairman Senator Adamu Abdullahi appreciated the concerns of parents toward the prolonged ASU strike, hoping that the party will push for agreement.
This party is a party in government, and we more than appreciate the concerns of parents and our children who have been out of school for quite some time now. I do know and I appreciate the effort government is making, and it is my hope that ASU will come to reality with government so that we'll have a meeting point and bring solace to our children and their parents.
Abdullahi also commented on the threat by some National Assembly members to impeach the president.
It's a very sorry development, yes. And as you can see, that is no longer on. It's no longer on. Yeah, it's the National Assembly expect this heat. It happens everywhere in every democracy.
The chairman, however, believes the party is positioned to win election in 2023. Musa Luka, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And as the security situation in the country continues to defy practical solutions, people are seeking ways of curbing the menace within their localities. In Kaduna State, in northwest Nigeria, a community known as Hayim Malam Bello in Rigasa, Igabi local government area, has opted to use a volunteer security outfit to assist security agencies tackle the security challenges bedeviling the community. The report.
Igabi local government areas is one of the areas that have been severely attacked by bandits and terrorists, resulting in kidnapping for ransom and cattle rustling, among others. Within the council area is Hayim Malam Bello, a sub-community of Rigasa area. With their numbers attacks recorded at Rigasa and neighboring communities, residents of Hayim Malam Bello community have opted for community policing to address them.
Nobody can pretend, even the leadership of Nigeria cannot pretend that we are safe. The insecurity is at the high side, and we all at Nigeria must put our head together.
They say Nigeria in general, and the community in particular, is blessed with vibrant youth who are ready to contribute their quota in the fight against insecurity.
Volunteers to assist the federal government to fight crime, to assist the government security agencies to put a stop to insecurity. But I don't know why governance is ignoring all these able men.
They appeal to President Muhammadu Buhari and Kaduna State Governor Nasiru El-Rufai to support civilian JTF activities in order to combat insecurity in the state. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
And still on security, troops of Operation Thunderstrike of the Nigerian Army and that of Operation Puff Adder of the Nigeria Police have intensified patrols and operations along the Kaduna-Abuja highway and surrounding communities. Speaking during an assessment tour of the ongoing security operations on the highway, the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, said contrary to insinuations that motorists have abandoned the highway because of insecurity, more vehicles are still plying the road as a result of the presence of security operatives in the area. Arwan also debunked reports that the convoy of the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 12 was attacked along the Kaduna-Abuja highway last week, adding that the incident took place between Kaduna and Nasarawa state borders. Other locations visited by the Commissioner are Rijana and Katari villages, which are flashpoint areas on the highway. And victims of last Sunday's terrorist attack in Katsina State have called on the state and federal government to find lasting solutions to the insecurity ravaging the state and the country as a whole. During the separate attacks, 11 people were reportedly killed, dozens displaced and hundreds abducted, while several others escaped with gunshot wounds. Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi visited some survivors at the Federal Teaching Hospital in Katsina and now reports.
These survivors narrowly escaped death from terrorist attacks in their communities and can recollect what happened even in hospital bed.
I am from Yorgoje village of Kankara local government. I was shot by terrorists who came to kill a shop owner in my community. I was shot by the terrorists in the process of killing the shop owner.
This victim from Matazu local government is unhappy with security operatives for their inability to contain the deteriorating situation. But he also blames activities of informants for the escalation of insecurity in Katsina State. My village was attacked. The terrorists are unleashing mayhem on our communities, yet no one is doing anything about it. DPO Musawa is doing his very best, but his men lack the capacity to confront the terrorists every time. This witness recounts the attacks on Shola Quarters and Chechnya in Katsina Metropolis, which left one person dead, a couple abducted, and 3 others hospitalized. The terrorists come to Shola Quarters and Chechnya in large numbers and heavily armed. They targeted the local vigilante and killed one. They were shooting sporadically to scare residents before gaining access into their victims' houses. This is the first time in 2 months Katsina City is coming under brutal terrorist attack. Residents are happy with the recent Air Force strikes on some terrorist camps where dozens were neutralized. They are, however, appealing for synergy between all security operatives in tackling the menace. The most puzzling of all is how the terrorists attack their victims without resistance from any security operative in recent times. Residents see the dire need for political will in dealing with the terrorists from governments to allow people access their farms on other social activities. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Coast Television News, Katsina.
Now, the police in Adamawa State have apprehended 38 suspected kidnappers, informants and rapists in a sting operation across the state. Parading the suspects before journalists, the Commissioner of Police in the state, Sikiru Akonde, said the arrest was as a result of heightened efforts by the police to check criminal activities. He said the command is on the trail of 4 kidnapped kingpins terrorizing communities in the state, adding that the command will not relent until the kidnappers are arrested. He listed the items recovered from the suspects to include an AK-47, a pistol and a laptop computer. Akonde solicited support from community leaders and the public to enable the command rid society of criminal elements. The National Orientation Agency has assured of partnership with the National Center for the Coordination of Early Warning and Response Mechanism to address issues related to threats to human security in West Africa. The partnership is equal to the signing of an Executive Order 12 by President Buhari, which established the center pursuant to Article 58 of the Treaty of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and Article 16 of the Protocol on the Mechanism related to conflict prevention, management, resolution, peacekeeping, and security. The report.
The early warning system is to provide real-time information on incidents likely to affect social peace, security, political events, and climate change in the West African region to strengthen the ECOWAS strategy for information sharing among member states.
In dealing with the various challenges confronting our country, we must mobilize every aspect of national power, both kinetic and non-kinetic resources. And the NOA is the tip of the spear when it comes to dealing with issues relating to national orientation, behavioral change, public enlightenment, and mass mobilization.
The National Orientation Agency assured that the partnership is geared towards enlightening the public on the approach to security issues in Nigeria. The NOA urged the center to leverage on the agency's staff strength spread across the 774 local government areas as desk officers for the National Coordination Center.
And so I believe strongly that this partnership is going to work because it's intended for the general good, and if that is what you have in mind and that's what our mandate is, then I can't see us losing neither your commission or the National Orientation Agency.
Security threats confronting Nigeria and the rest of West Africa have become more violent, cross-border by nature, and spreading faster. This, analysts say, calls for the need for an effective sub-regional collaboration on early warning systems. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And as part of efforts to strengthen the current security architecture in Gombe State, the state government has organized a 3-day security summit in collaboration with the Counter-Fraud Center. At the opening ceremony of the program held at the Gombe State Government House on Tuesday, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Ali Baba, said the summit is timely. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail reports.
Gombe is one of the most peaceful states in the northeast of Nigeria, which has been ravaged by the activities of insurgents for over a decade. The deteriorating security situation in northern Nigeria, characterized by the activities of bandits and kidnappers, Gombe State government is not taking its internal security lightly.
Gombe State Peace and Security Summit was convened by this administration under my leadership in order to provide an opportunity for a carefully selected cohort of experts, security personnel, government officials, strategic stakeholders, and community leaders so as to aggregate and explore pressing internal security issues with a view to identifying community pathways of mitigating them for lasting peace and stability.
The Inspector General of Police said more should be done to enhance peace and security in the state.
Our 3-day Security and Peace Summit, which is being organized under the theme Mitigating Contemporary Security Challenges for Sustainable Development in Gombe State, is coming at a critical time when the Nigeria Police Force under my leadership is working towards deepening the engagement of the concept of community partnership in trying to prevent or control crime and criminality.
Counter-Fraud Center, a consultancy firm which partnered the Gombe State government in organizing the summit, said state governments in the northeast must be vigilant to prevent bandits from infiltrating the region.
Improve community policing and increase peaceful coexistence, because it's the people that know the people that are causing the insecurity. So let it be everybody's business to ensure that we are secure. So we have to increase that. Of course, improve the criminal justice system. We have to dispense our justice faster, because most of the issues, especially when you look at the farmers' herders crisis and so many issues, has been caused by the slow dispensation of justice. So these are just the three things I would just like to advise.
Governor Yahya also unveiled 28 operational vehicles to security agencies in the state to enhance their operations. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
You are watching Trust TV News Hour. And still to come on the news, classroom blocks for internally displaced persons. Details of this and more after the break. Do stay with us.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now for another look at our top stories. INEC says Lawan Akpabio not candidates for 2023. And casualties of terrorist attacks in Katsina call for end to attacks. And in other news, the Senate, through its Standing Committee on Public Accounts, has begun a probe into the over 1.7 trillion naira allocated via service-wide votes to federal agencies from the 2017 to 2021 budgets. Chairman of the committee, Matthew Orobide, who made this known during the meeting of the committee, said beneficiary government agencies need to give explanations on how they utilize the fund. He added that service-wide votes are a disbursement for shortfall in capital and overheads. The chairman also ordered the acting accountant general of the Federation, Okoliabo Silva, who appeared before the committee, to submit details of disbursements of service-wide votes as quickly as possible. And community-based organizations in Kano State have developed citizens' charters for demand for engagement of candidates ahead of the 2023 general elections. Idris Jibril reports that the charter contains a list of demands for development projects to be executed based on the need of the electorates. The report.
For quite some time, the attempt by citizens to ensure that the mandate given to their elected representatives is being fulfilled remains difficult. Hence, the need for these community leaders in Kano to disseminate citizens' charter of demand for agenda-setting engagements with candidates in 2023 elections.
Agenda setting is one of the priorities in ensuring that the citizens are mentored, supported, and organized to prioritize their demands and develop charters that they will engage the political parties and political party candidates to show them what are their needs when elected into office, and then convince them on how best they could meet these needs of the citizens in governance.
According to residents, depending on the demands of the communities, the charter seeks to identify developmental needs of the society in areas of education, healthcare, agriculture, environment, among others.
This charter came from the grassroots, so the constituents mostly are fully aware of the content of the charter. So we believe when the candidates started going to the constituency for campaign, the constituents will bring the issues from these charters. And so the candidate will engage and citizens will demand. And we are hoping this is a very, very good start for Kano State. In the past, we have been trying to do it, but this time we have it well documented and well articulated. So we believe candidates are going to respond. If you fail to respond, many people will reject you at polling units.
Although residents in Kano argued that most politicians have over the years failed to fulfill their campaign promises to the citizens, the charter is expected to serve as a working document that will influence politicians to provide social amenities to the people.
Most of our findings reveal that whoever is elected as an executive or even the legislator, he always feels that he's a king. Nobody can control him. He only has his own agenda. You can never control his own agenda. So that's why we feel it's high time for those people that are coming into our governance to know that we, the citizens, we can hold them responsible for what we want to see them implemented, not them implementing for us.
As the name implies, Citizens' Charter of Demands, communities are expected to be mobilized toward presenting their demands to their political candidates before, during, and after the 2023 elections. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And the Zamfara state government is seeking global support in the areas of capacity building of its health personnel, equipment, and disease surveillance. Governor Bello Muhammad made the appeal while playing host to stakeholders in the health sector in Gusau, the state capital. The report.
The visit to Zamfara State, according to the stakeholders, is to promote community engagement with traditional and religious leaders, as well as to mobilize communities to embrace health interventions that are life-saving for children, women, and vulnerable persons in the society. The stakeholders said it is imperative for Zamfara State government to work with other development partners in the state to boost community confidence and trust to improve acceptance of health intervention projects like routine immunization coverages, among others.
A group of partners, Chigiri Foundation, Solina, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, WHO, UNICEF, and several others, including other government agencies, are invited in that partnership to work with state governments like here in Zamfara, to work with traditional leaders to boost the confidence of communities in demanding for essential services, essential commodities that can save lives. That's what financial resources are one element, but there is also a lot of social capital that we have to harness. We have seen political capital being deployed in Zamfara State in terms of just mobilizing communities, despite all the challenges that had preceded this period. What we're here for is to mobilize all forms of capital whether it's social capital, political capital, but also leveraging on what the state is bringing and what other partners are going to bring.
The Chief of Staff Government House Zamfara, Ibrahim Sulaiman, who received the team on behalf of Governor Bello Muhammad, described the visit as apt, saying it is coming at a time when the state is facing insecurity and other challenges. He seized the opportunity to seek the support of the stakeholders and other development partners on capacity building to safeguard lives of citizens in the state.
You are coming at this time, like I said, it's very hard. It's such a time when we are facing challenges of insecurity. Challenges of insecurity are media and multifaceted. You are coming this very timely, and we are not going to put so much pressure on you, but you understand our situation, and that's why.
The group of health partners are expected to deploy social, political, capital, and financial resources to intervene in the routine immunization coverages on polio in Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara states in northwest Nigeria.
The Federal Road Safety Corps, Sokoto State Command, has impounded 35 unregistered motorcycles. The sector commander, Kabir Nadabo, said the arrest was in line with the directive by the federal government that unregistered motorcycles should not be allowed to ply the roads. He also said that the enforcement will be extended to areas prone to bandits' attack. The commander promised that the motorcycles will be released to the owners once they complete registration. And as part of efforts to provide formal education for their wards in camp, internally displaced persons in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital, have championed the construction of the present refugee camp primary school, Shinge, in Lafia local government area of the state. The report.
Hello, now we're going to start our third time exam. Are you getting me? Yes.
The quest by the IDPs for educational for their children in the community led to them to task each member of the community who were interested in ensuring that their children acquire Western education to contribute the sum of 500 naira, which was used to pay the 6 volunteers in the community to teach 600 pupils. The primary school was officially established in 2004 as Refugee Camp Primary School, Shinge, Lafia local government area of the state, during the administration of former governor of the state, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, following religious crisis that erupted between Muslims and Christians in Yelwa Shandam. Narrating the situation surrounding the school at the moment, which forced pupils sitting under a tree to receive their lessons, the headmaster of the Refugee Camp Primary School, Shingen, Mr. Saadu Alhaji Alkali, said before he was transferred from Ishaku Islamia Primary School to Refugee Camp Primary School, the school used tents as their classroom for lessons.
We have almost about 613 pupils in the school now. So how can 613 people will be holding class in only 3 classrooms and 1 office? So the challenges we have, some of the classrooms will normally take place under the tree. Now that it is dry season, if we are holding class under the tree, when rain comes, in fact, we don't know where the children, even if we can say the children to go and match their other children in the class, honestly, the class used to be compacted, no breathing.
He, however, appealed to state government to assist the school and build more structures that will accommodate the number of pupils they have in the school, as well as perimeter fence for security. Also speaking, the district head of Refugee Camp Primary School, Lafia Muhammad Zainua, appealed to the state government to consider the plight of pupils and build more structures for them. A teacher in the school, Mrs. Halima Yusuf, also expressed displeasure over the calamity that befell the pupils and thanked God for the refugee primary school. The management of the school is hopeful that other well-meaning individuals will assist in other areas to making learning conducive for the student.
And the last batch of about 94 pilgrims and officials who performed this year's Hajj exercise from Kaduna have returned home after spending at least 6 weeks in Mecca and Medina. The public relations officer of the Kaduna Pilgrims Welfare Agency, Alhaji Salisu Ancho, said about 2,500 pilgrims were airlifted back home. Among them was the executive secretary of the agency. Speaking to newsmen shortly after his arrival at the Kaduna International Airport on Sunday, the executive secretary expressed delight over the successful conclusion of the 2022 Hajj operations. Men of the Federal Fire Service have assured of their readiness to discharge their duties diligently if given the necessary tools and cooperation from the public. They spoke during the Controller General's assessment tour of firefighting facilities across the Federal Capital Territory. Mardia Umar has more.
The assessment tour began from the Nyanya Federal Fire Service Station to Dede and Kubwa Station, which is near completion. The Controller General, Abdulgani Ujaji, accompanied by Deputy Controller General and other senior officers, was received by men of the service at each point. Some of the officers used the opportunity to make necessary demands for easy discharge of their responsibilities, while the Controller General responded accordingly. He advised the men of the fire service to take their work seriously and diligently.
Realize that some of you doesn't come to work. It's not proper because it's good. Even if you have anything you want to do, take a proper permission from your superior officer so that whenever we are looking for you, somebody will say, yes, he took permission from me that is going to this particular place.
At the Dede Station, located close to the Timber Market, popularly known as Timber Shed, the chairman of Timber Shed Marketers Association urged the firefighters to do more, as the Timber Shed recently suffered a major fire outbreak.
Considering the nature of our business, that we needed a mini station fire service there to help us based on our type of business we have. So, but I'm very happy that the boss gave us a listening ear and he complained on it that he will do something that will be of interest to us.
The Controller General, shortly after the tour, assured of providing necessary support to ease service delivery.
I really appreciate my immediate past CG, and I believe that by the grace of God, with the support of my officers and men, we will do more than what they have done. Since fire service is not carrying arms and they are going there to fight fire, they know quite sure that there are some fire that may not be natural, that may be man-made, and people we want to loot, want to take that advantage to loot. That's the reason why the people that carry arms can also assist in making sure that they disperse those hoodlums.
The CG said they will continue to work with other security agencies in the country to combat fire and also promote fire safety across Nigeria. Mardia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The leadership of the National Assembly has commenced a 3-day training workshop to bring members of staff up to speed with legislative best practices. The clerk of the National Assembly, Olatunji Ojo, who emphasized the importance of training and retraining in any organization, stated that training improves the overall competence as well as builds a sense of security among staff. His position was also supported by the clerk of the House of Representatives, who added that the training is aimed at educating staff to understand the functions and importance of the legislature in a democracy.
When it comes to training and retraining, we try as much as possible to put in all that is required. And one of the ways of doing this is adequate training of the staff. So as I said that one of our training programs organized for the staff, we cannot continue to do things in the same way and we expect to achieve different results.
Civil servants who perform their duties in the service contrary to the rules and regulations as stipulated in the civil service rules are said to have divided loyalty to the government or institution or constituted authority under which they work. Sadly, it's been noted that over the years, the attitudes and behavior of some civil servants in Nigeria's civil service, including the National Assembly, are not conducive to the efficient administration of the affairs of the service.
You're still watching Trust TV News Hour, and the news continues after this break. Do stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Hour. Now, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, says the menace of oil theft in the Niger Delta has continued to affect the nation's economy negatively, with crude oil production going down by the day. The minister stated this when he paid a courtesy visit on the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma. The report.
Leading the delegation of anti-oil theft to Imo State is the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, who lamented the loss of petroleum to vandals. He stressed the need to partner the state government, the army and local authorities in the affected areas to put an end to the menace.
There is a national emergency over the issue of crude oil theft. And we know that we cannot handle it in Abuja without the cooperation from the states and from the areas where oil is being produced. It's a national emergency because crude oil production has dropped significantly from where it used to be. Instead of going down.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Rabo, assured of the Army's readiness to protect the country's economic facilities. He called for the needed support of the government and the locals to enable them effectively execute fight against perpetrators of illegal oil bunkering.
All I need to add here is that truly I'm leading the security agencies to escalate actions to ensure that every form of criminality that goes along with oil and gas exploration, among other things, are terminated. But we also realize that we cannot completely do it without the support of not just the states, but down to the grassroots. We, as members of the Armed Forces and security agencies, can take extra measures.
Governor Hope Uzodinma will bemoaned the activities of vandals operating as syndicates in the state with high resistance to security forces, however, assured the delegation of the state support for the success of the exercise.
I think that some of the things we observed working with security agencies is not passing through a proper process in engaging private security contractors. So that if you don't take time, you end up appointing those who are behind crude oil theft as security contractors. I therefore want to invite security agencies to take interest from day one.
Believe that collaborative efforts from key players will lead to a reduction in oil theft in the country.
The Lagos State Internal Revenue Service says its whistleblower initiative will deepen transparency, accountability, and uphold high standards in the administration of the tax system in the state. The executive chairman of the service, Ayodele Zubair, at the official launching of the initiative in Lagos on Friday, said the platform was introduced to encourage the reporting of illegal actions or financial crimes through the appropriate channel. The report.
The Lagos IRS chairman said the scheme and initiative of the state government will be driven by Deloitte Anonymous and the confidential whistleblowing facility, a platform run by a globally recognized accounting and audit firm, Deloitte Nigeria, with a view to correcting the violations and optimally boost the tax administration in the state. He added that the whistleblowing facility will promote the reporting of acts of commission or omission that border on unethical conduct of the LIRS employees, management, and other stakeholders through the designated channels to the authorities.
It's not controlled from within. It's controlled by independent assessors in the name of Deloitte and Eagle Eye assessors.
Ayodele said Deloitte's engagement as an independent assessor was to ensure an objective and unbiased review of issues raised. The Commissioner for Finance, Dr. Rabiu Onolapo Olowo, said the whistleblower initiative of the LIRS is a pilot scheme of the Lagos State Speak Up program aimed at encouraging feedback mechanism from the general public, boosting their confidence and trust in the operational activities of government.
The Internal Revenue Service contributes the largest pie to the revenue generating bucket through taxes, collection, including other revenues. LIRS has over the years increased the state's internal revenue by executing various pioneering programs and implementing strategies which has positively impacted revenue generation and collection.
The Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Samuel Egube, believes citizen participation in governance will stimulate public trust and enable the government to make the right investment decision on behalf of the people.
Found out that citizen participation in governance aids the transparency that builds trust, that enable them the citizens to make those investments in the state in the right places. And this particular launch is another milestone attempt to open up the state to accountability, to transparency, to the citizens of Lagos State, right, to participate in governance.
Stakeholders stress that it is the social and civic responsibility of citizens to blow the whistle when they see or perceive wrongdoing.
We will now join Chamun Dabeng for business news.
On the list of the top 10 International Development Association debtors IDA, Nigeria currently ranks 4th, with an $11.7 billion IDA debt stock as of June 30th, 2021. Nigeria was ranked 5th in the World Bank's fiscal year 2021 audited financial statements, also known as the IDA financial statement. Nigeria has risen up to the 4th position on the list, with $13 billion in IDA stock as of June 30th, 2022, according to the World Bank's recently released fiscal year 2022 audited financial results for IDA. This debt is distinct from the $486 million loan that is yet unpaid from the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development of the World Bank. Recently, the World Bank warned that Nigeria's debt, while currently manageable, might become unsustainable in the event of macro-fiscal shocks. The Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria, PBAN, has issued a warning about yet another increase in bread costs as a result of the exorbitant price of baking supplies. The association's president, Emmanuel Onora, revealed this and claimed that recent changes in the international market had not improved the operating conditions for regional bakers. The increase is being considered in response to a recent strike by PBAN and the Association of Master Bakers and Caterers of Nigeria, which resulted in a 15% increase in bread prices just 2 weeks ago. Onora claimed that this year's spiraling business costs had pushed many PBAN members to cease operating their companies. Additionally, he encouraged the federal government to provide a forex window for market participants, especially grain millers. This, he claimed, would greatly alleviate the market's indiscriminate price increase for flour. The hidden ads malware, which has entered Google Play Store, has been identified by the Nigerian Communications Commission's Computer Security Incident Response Team, NCC CSIRT. This malware can degrade device performance and compromise users' privacy. The malware, which was initially discovered by the McAfee Mobile Research Team, was categorized by NCC CSIRT as having a high probability of causing damage in its alert. The malware entered the Google Play Store as a number of app optimization or device cleaners, according to NCC CSIRT. It can operate malicious services without the user viewing the app after installation. Additionally, it bombards the user with pointless advertising. The number of downloads for the apps ranges from 100,000 to over 1 million. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
Now for a look at the foreign scene, where Kenyans are voting on Tuesday to select the successor to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Voters started queuing before dawn, eager to have their say over who will run the country for the next 5 years. Delays and logistical problems have been reported in some places, but in general, the process appears smooth. The vote follows an intense campaign dominated by debates on about living costs, unemployment, and corruption. The frontrunners for the presidency are former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and current Deputy President William Ruto. The outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta is backing his former foe, Mr. Odinga, after falling out with his own deputy. Now, earlier, we spoke to Vincent Makori, a senior correspondent with Voice of America in Nairobi, Kenya.
So, first Tuesday by 5 p.m. Kenyan time, the voting process officially started. But then, because there were some delays in the early part of the day, the Electoral Commission has decided that they have to extend voting in some of the polling stations where they were delayed by the same amount of time that the delay happened. So there has been a fair amount of frustration since morning, especially because some of the voters woke up very early in the morning. They wanted to be done with this business and go about their day as normal, but they ended up being at the polling stations for many, many hours because there was a delay caused by, they say, logistical reasons. But also there was some breakdown in some polling stations with the electronic system called KIMS, which is used to identify voters at the polling station.
And now look at sports, where Rivers United will face Watanga FC of Liberia in the preliminary round of the CAF Champions League. The winner will face Wydad Athletic Club for a place in the group stage. Plateau United will also face AS Stade Manji of Gabon, and the winner of the two-legged games will face Espérance Sportive de Tunis of Tunisia for a place in the group stages. The 2022-2023 CAF Champions League begins on September 9th.
The 2022 Bauchi MPF Polo Tournament has ended in Bauchi, with teams winning in different categories of the event, which attracted dignitaries and spectators across Nigeria at Colin A.D. Umar Retired Polo Ground in Bauchi. 6 teams competed in a closing day with more display to the admiration of polo fans. 3 matches were decided on the final day of the annual tournament. In the first match, while contesting for Kuyabana Wase Cup, selected Team B defeated selected Team A in a 3-1 score. Tafawa Balewa Cup had Bauchi Percentage versus Katsina Kangewa in the second match in favor of Percentage in 6.5 goals against 4 from Kangewa. The Governors' Cup final match couldn't end at the regulation time due to a 2-2 draw, hence the need for team captains agreeing to a toss of coin to determine the winner. Dokaji Farms won the Governors' Cup after the toss. One of the best players on the pitch, Fernando Munez of Malco Mines, appreciated organizers for the event.
We give all of us, so we try our best.
Governors.
And that wraps up Trans TV News Hour for tonight. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Have a good evening.